Ladies and gentlemen, I am Yuzrel, and welcome to part 12 of Clingin On. Drozana Station is safe, unfortunately, and continues to provide a haven for the scum of the 8 Eridani sector. At least when we do get round to purging it, we'll get all the rats at once, and a few Ferengi into the bargain, no doubt attempting to ensure the rats keep disreputable company. Now then, apparently there is a battle in the Norg system, and the Chancellor has some surplus plasma consoles that he would like to offload. I have no idea why. I can only assume somebody got their hands on a Romulan freighter, because no self-respecting Klingon loads plasma. For one thing, in background, it's a weapon used by the Romulans and the Borg, both races utterly lacking in honour. In-game, of course, it's not widely used because most advanced shields, particularly player shields, have plasma resist built in, so hey, why would you? Such things are not our concern, however. Let us merely focus upon the fighting and get going to the Norg system. As always, if I am mangling the Klingon pronunciations, I do apologise. I do not have a severe throat infection. It makes it rather difficult. So, Norg system's over there. Just reduce throttle a little to keep the turn radius manageable, get the helm pointed in roughly the right direction, and then crank the speed back on. Now, skills are up to date. Let's see what else needs to be done while we're toddling along. Transwarp 10, I believe. Poor Lieutenant Paris. It wasn't even worth the record to get turned into a giant lizard. I don't think the captain was worth it either. Now then. Good. A business proposition with our Orion friends. Let's face it, all those Vulcans were doing was sitting in the brig, eating bread and drinking water. Vulcans, they won't even touch alcohol. Now then, what else can we do? Aha! Inspect, for which read shake down a freighter. Hopefully we'll get some contraband out of that. What else have we got? Oh good, we can turn off a couple more of these useless layabouts. Although I have to wonder what on earth a peaceful Vulcan did to so enrage the House of Kalek that they want his head on a pike. Did he perhaps introduce a scion of the house to the joys of ballet? On second thoughts, maybe he did. That's certainly a horrible enough mental image that I have no wish to discuss it any further. The nasty kitty. I wasn't expecting to see that ship around here. My compliments to you, sir, upon your choice of name. It is a fine and honourable heritage you have. Although I have no idea what kind of body count your namesake ran up, I suspect it was much larger than what anyone else has managed in this game. Alright, 2 light years out. The Gach is eaten. The Targs are back in the pen. And let us see what we have. And while I'm at it, let's just get rid of that. We do not need to call in freighters, nor do we need to abandon ship. And there are momentary reports of unidentified ships. Oh, come off it, guys. This is the Star Trek universe. If you have a momentary glimpse of an unidentified ship, you call in the fleet and you scour every last corner of the system, because otherwise things like this happen. Yes. We have what is left of a Klingon battle group ahead. Some battle group. Apparently it consisted of 3 heavy cruisers, and they've sent 1 light escort to investigate what happened. I'd like to think the Chancellor still isn't mad at me about that Bat'leth tournament, but the evidence is starting to suggest otherwise. After all, you don't send 1 destroyer to investigate what junked 3 heavy cruisers. Or maybe you do. I suppose a lot depends on who was on board those heavy cruisers. I suppose it's possible they were being crewed by a load of tribble-loving degenerates. Either way, the Empire is well shot of them, for they were clearly weak and inferior. Now then... Now, 3 Fejai-class frigates. Don't even ask how the computer managed to identify them, despite in background never having seen this race before. Doesn't matter, they all need to die hot plasma death once we've finished talking to them and my weapon cooldowns are ticking off, though. Damn it. Oh well, at least we've got the torpedoes away. Right, one ship gone immediately. These frigates do go pop in very satisfying fashion. Right, come about. Weapons are on cooldown, so we're going to have to do this the other way. And why are we suddenly turning like a slug? Let's see, they're throwing it, but oh, Chronoton weapons. How I hate thee. Oh, and that's a Tricobalt mine. Sneaky little sods. So they hit you with the Tricobalts, and then they slap you with the Chronotons, or possibly the other way around to make sure you don't get away from the mines. Right. Either way round's bad, but let's face it, getting hit by a Chronoton torpedo is never good if you're in an escort, and getting hit by Tricobalt mines is just plain awful, no matter what ship you're in. Now, target the portal, fire the guns, and the torpedoes, and the kitchen sink, and here goes pop. Right, 1 down, 2 to go. Where are they? Oh, wow. So whoever designed this map actually remembered that there are 3 dimensions. Obviously, we're not counting things like time. I have no wish to run out of headache medication again. So, let us find the next one. Drop from impulse, turn, try not to scrape the paint on the asteroid. Not sure how much we missed that by, but it wasn't enough. Right, now they're all nicely grouped up, so half speed. Stand by, let's just wind the range down a little. Power up the wrong weapon skills and go. Yeah. That should have been a scatter volley. Unfortunately, I cannot execute my weapons officer, not least because there is a law against the Klingon custom of suicide, unless there is good reason, and pushing the wrong buttons does not constitute sufficient grounds to perform the Hegbut, as far as I am aware. Now then, more Chronoton torpedoes. Oh, those things are a nuisance. Alright, just blow this last frigate away. Try and remember to keep the forward guns online. It is sometimes rather awkward to try and judge. There we go. Kindly die. Alright, 1 portal to go. Pop, pop, poppity, pop. Aha! Not sure why it's artifacting like that. Tricobalt mines, point defense, point defense, point defense, target, target, target. Why isn't Tab doing anything? Oh god, Right, the paint is somewhat scratched. So, pop hazard emitters, boost auxiliary power, and then remember that auxiliary power only affects hazard emitters at the start of the power, because it doesn't consider what your power levels do afterwards. So I did that the wrong way round. Alright, well we're out of combat, so with a bit of luck the out of combat repair will do the trick. Let us find the 3rd portal and try to get it right this time, or I shall have to execute significant chunks of my crew merely to cover my incompetence. Alright, while we're here however, that really does illustrate just how much of a difference power makes. Hazard emitters goes from being a barely minor hull heal to being a full 1/3 of your hull, depending on your power levels. So there is something to be said for carrying a few auxiliary batteries aboard a Klingon warship, even if it doesn't directly power the weapons. Sometimes you just have to swallow your pride. Now then, range is good, cloak is up. Attack powers are off cooldown, walk the range down, speed at half, let's get it right this time. So, dump the cloak, torpedoes and cannons to scatter, and go. Right, let's see if we actually get a... Why has that turned into a box? Doesn't matter, that's what should have happened. Very satisfying synchronised explosions. Now then, apparently I'm out of arc and the nose is as far up as it will go, so the main cannons aren't quite coming to bear. Doesn't really matter. And while we were doing this, the Factory were off hitting Kronos. Lovely jubbly. How do you fight a territorial war against an enemy that can open portals anywhere it chooses? The answer is you don't. Every single warrior of the Empire will have to maintain full battle readiness. Mind you, they should be doing that already, so who cares? Right, 2 more Factory portals to go. Home field advantage? No, not really. They clearly have it. Even if there is one, because let's face it, we're not on a field, are we? Right, I may be getting appallingly literal there. If so, I apologise. Now then, they are scattered up, so scatter volley isn't quite optimal for this. However, let's go with it anyway. And I have got to remember to actually bother to train that ensign at some point. Yes, having torpedoes spread on a 2-minute cooldown can be somewhat embarrassing. Not to mention highly inconvenient and a ding in my DPS. Never mind, first Factory is gone, second one will be joining him very shortly, just as soon as I can get the torpedoes to bear, and as soon as I can actually remember how to fly this ship, ye gods, and that's another Tricobalt mine. Yeah, mines aren't quite the joke they used to be, are they? And with these Chronoton torpedoes, I have got the turn rate of a heavy cruiser. Why did I not take something with beam arrays on board? More to the point, why did I not bother taking a heavy cruiser? Answer, because I had completely forgotten about this, and there's another mine. Where's the turret? Oh god, never mind. And we get reinforcements far too late. Right, one more portal to go. Okay. Old school content, ladies and gentlemen. I'll say this. Back in the day, this was cutting edge. Fortunately, Cryptic have gotten a lot better at designing their missions since, because let's face it, group portal, group portal, group portal isn't exactly the stuff of epic battles. However, they are all grouped up, so let us break out the battering stick once again. Torpedoes spread away, cannon scatter volley away. With a bit of luck they'll go bang. Yep, we shot them. Well, I believe we actually did shoot that last one through an asteroid, ladies and gentlemen. There is no hiding from the Empire. And if we whack off this final portal, there we go. Except we now have another group to kill. Huzzah! And I'm sorry, did somebody leave Praxis Station in the sun for too long? It looks like it's melted from here. And they forgot to screw the bolts down again. Bits of it are falling off. Oh wow, somebody really junked that place, didn't they? And there are 3 birds of prey sat over there, 3 Fairjais sat over there. I appreciate that had they been allowed to come to contact, they'd have settled their differences by now, and there'd probably been a cooling corpse somewhere. But nevertheless, it's a little awkward to see the sworn enemies of the Empire and its loyal, valiant and honourable defenders studiously sitting on opposite sides of the base and doing their level best to ignore each other, presumably sipping cups of tea in best Federation style. The captains of those ships will have to be dealt with according to the Articles of War, namely the bit especially in those of His Britannic Majesty's Navy circa 1800, that prescribed the death penalty for not doing your utmost in the face of the enemy. And yes, that is why British naval captains of the period were so notoriously aggressive and gung-ho. If it was suspected that they hadn't been, they were taken out and shot quietly. And then every other captain in the Navy was told about it equally quietly, pour encourager les autres, as the French would put it. And no, I have to disagree with the Merovingian. I have no frame of reference for wiping my backside with silk, so I have no way of comparing that to the French language. However, scatter volley is up, high yield is up as well, and will have to do. Now, why didn't that frigate die when I hit it? There. That's more like it. Right. Final frigate, I hope. This really shouldn't be getting boring after only one mission, but it would have been nice to see some more variety out of the random names. Oh god, another mine. Ugh. I need quicker point defense reactions. And having vanquished the fleet, we are too late yet again. They're on the homeworld. Hooray. I'm starting to think the Chancellor may have had a point. I mean, he's tried to get us killed, what, 4 times now in the course of this series? Never mind, 5th time's the charm, and... the nostalgia, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we had as Kronos before we got the first city in the last revamp. This is itself the second version of the KDF headquarters. We actually have a courtyard outside. Not that it matters, because I have a lot of aggression to work off, and a backleft to work it off with. And, oh wow, 12 feet tall, and couldn't you have left him for me? Ugh. There are times when even the efficiency of Klingon warriors is a thing to be bemoaned. Now then, let's see if Smeagol here has anything worth doing. Apparently not. Come back here. Oh, never mind. We'll kill her instead. Apparently they don't have belt sanders in Gre'thor either. Or dietitians. Choppy, choppy. Take him off at the knees. And was that it? Ugh. Right, into KDF headquarters as it used to be. For those of you who weren't around when the Klingon Empire first set forth to conquer the weakling Federation, something that may have taken a little longer than anticipated, the conquest is a couple of years behind schedule, and the situation is developing not necessarily as planned. However, this is what it used to look like. So, we used to have the quartermasters down here. The place wasn't generally on fire. That usually only happened on Saturday nights, about an hour after they ran out of blood wine and warnog. Now then. Right, a couple more Fek'lai to kill. Going Mater again for a second. As an introduction, if you compare this to the way the Davidians were introduced, this is perhaps a little more lacking, I suppose. It's straight up. On the other hand, the Fek'lai aren't as subtle as the Davidians. The Davidians have at least got a motive, hunger. They want to eat your brains, like the blue space vampire zombies that they are. Blue space vampire zombies. Could we make a movie out of that? Probably not, and it would probably be a no-budget C-list flick even if we did. Right, where's the next bunch of demonic wannabes? We still never work out if these guys are actually the genuine article, and therefore the Klingon myths about Gre'thor are correct, or if it's just somebody playing on Klingon sensibilities. Who knows, maybe it's a Federation trick. After all, for all their polite words, those guys will happily go for genocide. And let's face it, they couldn't beat the Klingon Empire any other way. Right, so that used to be the challenge floor. In fact, I'm pretty certain that used to be the bar at one point. Of course, in some circles, that's not actually any different. Same thing, you get your drinks and your fight in one place. Handy, convenient, minimum amount of drunken staggering afterwards. Right, shoppy, shoppy, shoppy. And yes, we did just hit him in the groinal area. Right, now then. The High Council decided, presumably, that they were bored. I have no idea why running the Empire and sending its fleets into war would not be enough entertainment, but apparently it wasn't so. Let us head off to what used to be the High Council chamber before the Great Remodelling. It'd be nice to see this set make a comeback, you know. Somebody put a fair amount of effort into building this, and it's a shame to see it only now being used in this one scenario. Right, now as I remember, we have to take a right turn here. And yes, a lot of the assets here did get reused later on. Right. Aha! We actually have a fight going on. Excellent. Which does leave you wondering why the birds of prey over Praxis Station weren't pulling the same bit of atmospheric actions. Okay. Come back here. Right. And if the enemies of the House of Martok accidentally get a Batleth in the back, well, that's no bad thing. Right, now we've got the protection objective complete, and her disruptor pistol isn't textured for some reason. Not sure why that is. Chop! Get back. No, get back here! Failing that, just fall over, and if anyone wants to apply to be on the Clingin Head Council, please do so, because I may have just accidentally created a few vacancies. Defeat Dejar. Where is Dejar? Where is Dejar? Come on. Aha! I'm assuming it's the... No, it isn't. So, where is... I'd assumed it was the Big Ugly, such is usually the way. And what is that captain doing? I have no idea. Plow on in. So, aha, there he is. Finally he showed himself and went down like a sack of potatoes. And is that it? Is that really it? Do we not get the intimidating speech? The declaration of how the Fekri will overrun Kronos and drag every soul screaming into Gre'thor? Of how Kalis wore women's underwear, and how his tales of his brother and the Morlor and the sword were naught but fabrications? Do we not, in short, get a properly epic ending to this mission? No, apparently we don't. We get a few words from the Chancellor and a plasma flow regulator console.
Congratulations, Captain.
Yeah. Slow start to this arc, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it will pick up. But to borrow a phrase, hope is the first step on the road to disappointment. And I will see you next time.